Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our next webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly as part of our Roadmap to Recovery series. And I'm joined today by Tony Roberts, who is, of course, the Vice President UK and Europe of Princess Cruises, who made an announcement just this morning around domestic sailings, which is, of course, the buzzword at the moment. We heard from the government that's going to be allowed this summer. And so, Tony, tell us what you're going to be offering.
So morning, Lucy. Yes, we're very excited to be putting together a bit of a plan to return to cruising now. And as you say, we've announced this morning that later this summer, we're going to be introducing sailings from Southampton on Regal Princess and on Sky Princess, both initially some cruises to nowhere, and then from September we'll introduce some UK ports of call as well. So really excited to be getting back to cruising and on that roadmap to returning to travel that we all know and love.
Brilliant. Okay, so those two ships are both what you call your medallion class ships. So tell us why that's significant, Tony.
Yeah, it's we're really pleased that we've got some of our newest ships, and Sky Princess was launched just a couple of years ago, and in fact we took 250 travel agents on Sky Princess as part of her launch. So it's a ship that UK travel agents are going to be very familiar with. We've got Ocean Medallion on board, and this is our wearable device that allows you to completely personalize your guest experience on board. But actually, more than that, as we return to sailing, it's really going to help us to provide an even more safe environment. We'll be able to offer a truly touchless embarkation experience, and you'll be able to book your embarkation slot before you arrive so that we can avoid gathering in crowds. You'll be able to order food and drink from wherever you are on the ship. So you won't need to go to the bar or go to the restaurant. You can order a drink to be brought to your sunbed or even the balcony of your cabin. And the same with food and other things that you might need, like goggles or sunscreen, that kind of thing, can all be ordered via the app. And also it's going to help us to really demonstrate, the busy parts of the ship and that sort of thing. And simple things like everyone's used to mustering at the start of the cruise, but with Ocean Medallion, you'll be able to watch the video on either your personal device or your stateroom TV, and then just check into your muster station at your convenience. So there'll be no gathering everybody together at the start of the cruise with life jackets on, that kind of thing. So the technology is really helping us to provide a seamless experience for the guests, and also to help us just remove some of those friction points that you would normally have on holiday, and to provide that safer cruising environment too.
Yeah, well, of course, you were working on it anyway because it, as you say, it provides a better experience. But in this current climate, it's probably going to be very attractive. Well, let's move on then to talk about the health and safety measures and what you're going to be requiring. What will guests need in terms of vaccinations or testing, etc., to go on any of these cruises, Tony?
So we are going to be operating for these initial cruises only, which will depart through August and September. In fact, we start at the back end of July, on the 31st of July, but it's essentially August and September sailings. We are going to be requiring our guests to be fully vaccinated. And by fully vaccinated, we mean that they will be 7 days beyond their second dose vaccination, and will need to demonstrate that at embarkation. Of course, they don't need that in order to book, but we will expect them to have that at the point of sailing. And we will, of course, along with all of the clear cruise lines, we will be testing all guests and crew before embarking the ship as well.
Okay. Now, it's interesting because I noticed the wording you've used is the same as your sister company, P&O. So you've used this wording around the advanced progress of the UK vaccination programme, and the strong express preference of guests is for vaccinated guests to be on board. Do you, obviously this week we've heard the news is going to be a delay in the vaccination rollout, certainly for people in their 40s. Do you think, will that have an impact on you at all?
So no, we've looked at this very hard, and as with our sister brand, we've had a strong desire from our guests to travel with other guests who've been vaccinated. That really has been expressed to us quite significantly over recent months. I think, as the government mentioned yesterday, I think some of the supply issues around vaccination are a little bit lumpy at times. but the government are still convinced that that all adults will be vaccinated in the UK by the end of July. And we're not actually starting sailing until the end of July. So for most of the guests who would normally take a cruise, most of our demographic, actually they should be well up to date with their vaccinations at the point that we start sailing.
Okay, but just to clarify, it does mean that children won't be, because obviously you normally take families and children, don't you, in the summer months, but they won't be able to sail with you.
Yeah, it's, we don't have an age limit, but it is, the current policy, as you know, from government is to vaccinate adults. So yes, it will mean that, if children aren't vaccinated, they won't be able to travel on these sailings.
And then will you review that policy, Tony? Because I guess you're still waiting to know when you can restart your other cruises. So, but that will be reviewed, will it, at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the moment, Lucy, we are, we're booking into cruises from October and beyond, where we have, families booked on board already, and we'll continue to take bookings from those families. This policy applies just to these UK sailings through August and September only.
Okay. All right. Let's talk then, just before we move on from this kind of health and safety aspect, what will people expect to on board in terms of other measures that you might have in place?
So we will continue with guidance on things like social distancing and mask wearing where social distancing isn't possible, and this is common across all cruise lines that are members of CLIA. So there are some very clear policies around that, but we're also trying to create an environment that is as close as possible to the sort of experience that you would have had on a cruise before the pandemic. So, for instance, within our entertainment, we will have live music acts, we will offer full production shows. There'll be entertainment throughout the day and throughout the evening. In terms of dining and bars, we expect to operate all of our venues, including our specialty dining venues as well. So the guest experience is going to be very similar to that you would have had pre-pandemic. But of course, there'll be additional measures in place to keep the guests and crew safe and healthy throughout their holiday as well.
We're going to have to hope for really good weather, aren't we? Because my favourite bit on your ships is the movies under the stars. So let's hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope British weather, is good to us, so you can get that going.
No, and of course, we'll be having blankets and hot chocolate as well. So even if it's a little bit chilly, we can still enjoy the movies under the stars. But yeah, absolutely. And things like the leisure facilities, the spa facilities, there'll be additional measures in place, but we still plan to offer that unique resort style holiday that you get with a cruise ship. And I think this is one of the places where it's going to be really different to some of the UK staycations that are on offer at the same time, because you have a fully equipped luxury resort offering entertainment, dining, and leisure experiences all included in your price. And we're putting on our sale as an all-inclusive offer as well. So with our Princess Plus, we're including our premium drinks, unlimited Wi-Fi, and it really is unlimited. It's the best Wi-Fi at sea, and all gratuities included within the price. So it's an all-inclusive holiday. And really is, we're calling them seacations. So it'll be like a staycation, but at sea in a fully equipped resort.
Yeah, no, I love the name. That's very clever. But will you be sailing at full capacity, Tony, or are you going to have to leave some cabins empty?
So, bringing these ships back into service after they've been out of service for, over a year, it'll be by the time we come back. Is almost like bringing a new ship into service. And whenever we do that, we start up initially with lower occupancies on board, and over time we'll build that up. And we also will need to carefully manage things like social distancing and that kind of thing. So that will mean that we don't sail at full capacity initially on these initial cruises, but we will over time build up the occupancy. But actually, it's talking about the experience that guests will have on board, I think it'll be an opportunity for it to feel even more luxurious, because there'll be less guests and more attentive staff to look after every need.
Yeah, and talking about the staff, obviously getting them back, I know, is a big operation. I'm sure you've started that already. What will your crew all be vaccinated as well, or will they just be tested regularly? How are you going to manage that aspect?
Yeah, so it's difficult for us to manage the vaccination policy for crew who, of course, come from all over the world. But even without the vaccination process, we have proven protocols around testing of crew and quarantine when they arrive on board to make sure that not only are they tested and regularly tested, but they're continued to keep healthy and safe on board. And of course, all of these protocols have been in place and been operating while the ships have been in layup. So we've got some good experience in terms of keeping our crew healthy, and that will continue as we return to service.
Okay. Now, you talk there about the great value that you're going to offer. Can you just, for agents watching this, I mean, it goes on sale, doesn't it, on Wednesday? Is that right? Wednesday?
Yeah, on March the 24th, we go on sale, yes.
Okay. And just give us an idea of the lead-in fares then, perhaps for a 3-night cruise and a 7-night cruise.
Okay, so 3 nights we'll be offering, including drinks, Wi-Fi and gratuities, will be $539 per person. So that's the inclusive fare for a 3-night holiday. For a 7-night break, that is at $999 per person. Again, all inclusive, so including your drinks, Wi-Fi and gratuities, and of course full board. All food and entertainment are included within that price.
Okay, and you think then this is going to offer a really great value alternative to a domestic holiday on land? And with that in mind, Tony, do you anticipate attracting new to Princess, new to cruise customers, or do you think this will really be booked up quickly by your loyal guests?
So I think both, and that's what we're hoping to see. I think this will really appeal to experienced cruisers who have been waiting for over a year now to get away on their favorite type of holiday. And I think this is will be a great opportunity for people to get together again with their families and friends that they like to spend their holiday time with. And I think relaxing in an all-inclusive style resort will be very appealing to those people. But I also think that there'll be a whole bunch of people out there who are looking at the options for a UK staycation for this summer, while there's still a bit of uncertainty about international travel. And we'll be thinking, actually, you know what, it will really feel like I'm getting away if I get on a ship and sail, albeit around the UK, in this, in some of these lovely resort ships. So we're expecting that there'll be a number of people who perhaps take a cruise for the first time and see it as a great value option. As an alternative to a UK staycation.
Yeah, and you mentioned right at the start, Tony, that some of them are just going to be cruising around the coast, but some will make ports of calls into certain ports. So can you tell us where you're going to be calling?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're for these initial Profile 1 cruises, as we're calling them, we're restricted to UK ports. So we'll be calling at Liverpool, at Belfast, and at Greenock, very close to Glasgow. We at Princess, we are very experienced in sailing around the British Isles. In fact, every summer we have a ship devoted to sailing around the British Isles. So we've got some great opportunities to help our guests explore those ports and perhaps to see parts of those regions that they've not experienced before. So we're very excited.
Sorry to interrupt you, but will you put onshore excursions in those places then?
Yeah, absolutely. We will be offering the opportunity for guests to go ashore with Princess. And to make the most of some of those destinations. And there really is some very interesting things to see, in the destinations that we'll be visiting. And as I said, we've got good experience of taking guests there and giving them an amazing shoreside experience.
All right. Well, finally, Tony, I know you work really well with travel agents all across the UK. They've been struggling like everybody without any income. And obviously this is an opportunity, isn't it, for them to sell holidays that are very soon, immediate, and hopefully get some cash in. How important do you think this will be, these kind of cruises for the trade?
So I think we're incredibly proud of the way that we've worked in partnership with our travel agents over the last year, and we know it's been a really difficult year for everybody, and we've been incredibly supported by our partners, and we're hugely grateful for the support that they've given and continue to give Princess through what's been an incredible year. You're right that right now we've got an amazing opportunity where we've got some certainty about how we will return to sailing, and there's an opportunity for us to go out and attract both a new to cruise audience and also to provide great holidays for an existing cruise audience. And
how are you supporting the trade with that? Are you sending, you know, are you communicating anything, sending them any information? What will you do?
Yes, absolutely. So we've prepared a video which is aimed at frontline staff, which is going to provide them with all of the information that they need to sell these new seacations, including some policy information on the ships and information on the Medallion class. And we're working with our partners to make sure that, you know, they understand the size of the opportunity as well. Because we're attracting a number of guests with these short cruises. We need to find lots of guests for those. And there is, as you mentioned, there's a real cash flow opportunity because, you know, the revenue from a travel agent perspective all comes in really in the next 6 months. So it is a fantastic opportunity to start to prepare for holidays that people are actually going to be able to go on and enjoy, and also to start to earn some revenue together.
Yeah, just so one, I keep saying and finally, but this will be my last question. But yesterday, Paul Ludlow from P&O said on television actually that he was confident of returning to international sailing in the autumn. Do you share that view?
Yeah, at the moment, you know, we're very hopeful about being able to return to our scheduled program. So these cruises will operate through August and September, and then from October onwards, we return to our previous scheduled cruises. And we've got some Canaries cruises, France and Spain, some short cruises that are going to the Netherlands and Belgium. And you know, we're excited about returning to the cruising that we already had scheduled, and a number of guests have already booked into those cruises. There's still a little bit of uncertainty about that, and we continue to engage with government on how we can open up more international cruising. But this is,
do you expect to get an answer on that on April the 12th as part of the Global Task Force report?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll hear more information on April 12th along with that, and that cruising will be included in that guidance. That's certainly our hope, yeah.
Okay, and the fact that obviously there is still infection rates rising in parts of Europe, will that have a bearing, do you think? I know we're doing well with our vaccination programme, albeit we've heard this week that it's slightly stalled, but will that have a bearing?
Yeah, I think, you know, ultimately we're going to follow the government guidance on where it's safe to travel, and we'll have to adjust our plans and reflect that as we go forward. But as you said, you know, the vaccination process is very positive in the UK, and we hope that starts to be the case in Europe and in the rest of the world as well. And you know, I'm sure it will as we go through the months, and we're quite a long way off that at the moment. So
yeah,
you know, we're excited.
Are you well booked for October onwards, or
yeah, absolutely. You know, and not just from October, but next summer we're seeing really strong bookings as well. And there's a lot of confidence in cruise and people looking to their future holidays. So yeah, I think there's definitely lots of demand out there, and you know, we just need to continue our work with government and return to cruising safely.
Okay, all right, Tony. Well, we're very excited about your Seacations programme. I hope it goes really well for you. Hope lots of agents get behind it. But for now, thank you very much for joining us, Tony Roberts from Princess Cruises.
Thank you, Lucy.